somewhere in this world, a life was already being wasted, and its owner didn't even know it. On the bench beside him sat a wooden carving, unfinished, gathering dust, forgotten. Far away, through that same morning mist, someone else had already been walking for an hour. His father stood in the doorway every morning, watching with a love that was slowly turning into grief. The market was alive with work, but Aldric's stall stood empty, like a sentence with no ending. He told himself tomorrow, the most comfortable word in the language of regret. The merchant only stopped at stalls where hands had never stopped moving. In his dreams, the whole world already knew his name. The crowd, the glory, the arrival. He woke up and stayed exactly where he was. He had been trading tomorrow for today so long, he had forgotten which was which. She came to ask about the jewelry box, the one he had promised 3 months ago. She left quietly, and he watched her go like someone watching a door close on its own. His father's hands shook now, but those same hands still opened the workshop before dawn every day. Aldric noticed and chose not to see. The shelves that once held beautiful things now held only dust and space. The most dangerous kind of hope is the kind that asks nothing of you. Then Cale arrived, 17 years old, and already working when the stars were still out. By the time Aldric arrived to open his own stall, Cale had already sold 5 pieces. He told himself he had more talent, as if talent were a debt the world owed him. But a locked door, no matter how beautiful, still keeps you out. Winter came early that year, and with it came something Aldric had no plan for. He sold his father's tools one by one, and each one left like a piece of the man himself. He thought losing the tools was the worst thing. He was wrong. She stood at his door with packed bags and eyes that had run out of waiting. For the first time in years, something cut through the comfortable numbness. Real, sharp, true. He sat alone in the workshop, and for the first time the silence felt like something was wrong. He picked up the chisel, the one tool he'd kept, and held it like a question. Then he put it down, and that small act of giving up contained years of damage. He looked into a bucket of water and didn't recognize the face looking back. The hardest thing about being lost is not knowing when you stopped being found. On a morning when he had nowhere to go, his feet carried him to the forest. Then he heard it, a sound steady as a heartbeat, deep in the trees. There, in a clearing, a small stone cottage, and inside it, the oldest woman he had ever seen. Her eyes were white and sealed, yet her hands moved with a precision that made no sense. He stepped inside and asked the only question he could think of. She said, "How do you waste your eyes and still see nothing?" And he had no answer. The words didn't break him. They found a door he hadn't known was there. She didn't explain herself. She simply said, "Sit," and something in him obeyed. She said, "You are not lazy, you are afraid." And the word landed somewhere he couldn't defend. She asked, "What is the worst that will happen if you try and fail?" And he found he had no answer. She placed a single thread in his hands and said, "Start here." He held it, and the weight of every wasted year pressed quietly through his hands. He didn't cry, he breathed, and that was enough. She said, "The seed does not become a tree in one day, but it must go into the ground." He stayed until the fire burned low, and left carrying something he couldn't name. He walked home through the cold, and the village looked the same. but he didn't. He opened the workshop before sunrise, not because he knew what to do, but because he had to begin. His first cut was ugly, and he made a second one anyway. His hands bled from work they had forgotten. He wrapped them and kept going. That night he slept differently, not from the emptiness of wasted hours, but from the weight of real ones. The second day was harder than the first, and he showed up for it anyway. He discovered that starting is the hardest part, so every morning starting was his first victory. The first finished piece was imperfect. He put it in the window anyway, like a flag. A small child stopped outside and pressed her face to the glass and smiled. He went back to the forest to tell the old weaver. She listened and said only, "Again." Praise would have been comfortable, but again was the word that would make him a craftsman. Weeks passed, and his hands became different things entirely. One evening, he asked his father how he had learned to work the way he did, and they talked until midnight. His father watched him work, and in those eyes was something that looked like hope returning. The young rival paused his own work one night to watch through the window, and simply nodded. He had stopped trying to be better than anyone else. He was becoming better than yesterday's version of himself. There is a quiet line between the person you were and the person you are, and you only notice it looking back. Then he picked up the wood for the jewelry box, the one she had asked for long ago. He put more of himself into that box than he had put into anything in his entire life. He was no longer making it for her. He was making it as a promise to himself that he could finish what he began. 3 weeks later, the box was done, and he held it in the first light of morning. His father took it in trembling hands and said nothing for a long time. When he finally spoke, he said only, "You found it," and Aldric didn't ask what. He went to the forest one last time and found the cottage empty, the loom still. On the loom, a half-finished tapestry, a young man walking toward a horizon. He understood then. She had never been just a weaver. She had been everything he needed to face. He repainted the sign above the workshop door and added his own name below his father's. The first customer came, then another, then more, and each arrival felt like proof. He worked not for their approval, but because this was now simply who he was. The kind of life worth having doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives daily in small, completed acts. The shelves that had been empty began to fill. Not all at once, but steadily, honestly. A messenger arrived from a city 3 days away. A wealthy patron had seen his work. He didn't celebrate. He set the letter on the bench, picked up his tools, and began. He wrote a letter to Elena, not asking her to return, but to say the box was finished. He placed the jewelry box in the workshop window, facing outward, patient as the maker. He sat on the same bench where he used to sleep, but this time he was already awake. The village nodded to him as they opened their stalls, and the nod meant something now, and his father stood in the doorway, this time not watching with grief, but with quiet pride. He never became great by accident. He became himself on purpose. He picked up the chisel and began.